Hello, everyone. It is Coach Maggie with another 5 Minute Monday Mindset. Hope that you had an amazing weekend and are ready for a powerful week of productivity, of just spending time outside with friends and family. And today I want to talk about making sure that we're focusing on the things that are most important. You know, things before we ever do something, before there's an action, there's a thought. And that's why the mindset is so critical. I was working in the garden yesterday and just a little bit. I usually don't on Sundays, but looking at some plants and things and just checking on things. And I noticed some weeds. And if those of you that like to be outdoors, sometimes weeds are pretty. You know, on one hand, there are those nasty ones that are obvious. Um, they're easy to notice, and we go, ooh, I don't like those. They're unsightly. But some weeds are pretty, and a lot of weeds have flowers that are pretty. And the thing is, they rob the nutrients from the soil. And have you noticed that, for example, when there's a drought, weeds thrive? But yet our poor plants that we love and we baby, we have to continue to baby them. And they take the extra time, they take the extra nutrients, while weeds do great. And that's how it is in our lives. There are those things that steal our time. And if we're not careful, they will rob us of getting the most important things done, the things that really move the needle in our lives. And so I want you to be aware of those types of things. Social media can be one of those. And even though this is social media, when we don't set limits, before we know it, it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and we realize, oh my goodness, what have I been doing? I've been scrolling through pictures. Sometimes it's turning on the TV just for that background noise. And again, we get involved in some show or some rerun that we've watched. And we've realized later, 30 minutes later, an hour later, that we have wasted time on things that were so insignificant. So again, we need to make sure that we are paying attention to focusing on the things that are the most important. Think about today. Now, I'm doing this a little after 7 a.m. So what are the most important things I want to get done? I need to make sure and focus on those things. Or before I know it, it'll be lunchtime. And then pretty soon it's going to be dinner time. And then it's going to be evening and we'll think, where did the day go? It's time to weed out those time stealers, those energy zappers, those things that tend to pull out of us and keep us from getting the most important things done. So really take time to think about your day. I like to, and I don't always, but I like to look at my calendar first thing. All right, what are the most important things? Be jotting down what are the things I really need to be getting done. Now, if you happen to be catching this later in the day, go ahead and start planning for tomorrow. What are 2 or 3 things that really are important? And again, I love that phrase, they'll move the needle. So much of the things that we often do don't. There are things that are poof and they're gone. They're not making any difference. And just like when I was in my garden, I want my plants to grow. I had things coming up around my cabbage and my tomatoes are doing pretty good. But I have those invasive type things that like to get in and they like to steal the fertilizer and the things that are really making the actual plants grow. So identify those things in your life. Chances are you have several, just like I do. And once you identify those, and that's the important things. When I'm out in the garden, I've been doing this long enough that I can identify. Often the leaves look very similar to the actual plant, but there's little traits that I can tell, nope, that's a weed. And again, those are the things that steal away what's most important. So identify those things today. Come back this week for more tips. My goal is to make healthy living easy, affordable, and accessible to all. So have an amazing week and go out and be a blessing to the people around you. Take care. God bless.